Hey, what's up guys? In this video, I'm gonna tell you how to get color correct photos for your landscape photography right after this. Hey, what's up guys, and welcome into the video. On this channel, we talk landscape photography. So if you're into landscape photography at all, consider subscribing to this channel. Now in this video specifically, I want to talk about getting color accurate photos in your landscape photography. Whether you know it or not, your white balance in landscape photography is actually really important whenever you go out to shoot. Like, everybody knows that the exposure triangle is important. You get your exposure right, you get your aperture right, you get your ISO right. But a lot of times I see a lot of new photographers forget about the white balance or set their camera to auto white balance and have it do all the white balancing for them. Auto white balance is okay. Like, I see the benefit of using auto white balance if you're just getting started and you're getting used to the exposure triangle and figuring out your exposure speeds, your apertures, and your ISOs and working those all together. But when you take the next step, you need to be using a manually adjusted white balance. And that's how you get your color accurate landscape photographs, not just taking it in auto white balance or having it set to something incorrectly and adjusting that in post-processing. Yes, it can be done, but results are better when you manually adjust your white balance for color correct landscape photographs. So how do you actually do that? Well, when you go into your menu of your camera, usually there's going to be a white balance option. When you select your white balance, you select basically from 3 different scenarios in landscape photography. Well, really 4, but we're gonna get into the 4th a little bit later. So when you start out, you have 3 different situations that you're really shooting with, and that's sunlight, shade, and cloudy conditions. So when you're shooting in landscape photography settings, you are shooting like midday hours where you have a lot of sunlight. When you select that, what your camera is going to do with its white balance is actually dull down the yellow tones that are in your images, and it'll actually throw in more blue tones in your images, so it actually color corrects or adjusts for that sunny weather, knowing that the sun is producing so much yellow light coming in. Your camera will actually adjust to that and provide that extra tone that you need for that to adjust and balance that light and that color coming in. So what about like shade conditions? Shade conditions are a little bit different because your lighting is a little bit different. When you're under shade, you're under more of a cool tone that you're standing in. So what your camera is going to do is it's going to say, hey, he's standing under a shady condition. He's probably experiencing a little bit more blue tone to his images. So what we're gonna do is push more yellow tones or more warmth into the image. So when you do that, your camera is throwing in more yellow tones than you originally have, and you're provided with a warmer, correctly balanced color to your image. So cloudy weather is a lot like your shaded areas. When you're sitting in a shaded area, you're also kind of under diffuse light. Well, clouds are diffuse light. It's just a sheet of diffuse over the sunlight. So your camera is going to push not as much as when you're in shade, not as much yellow light as when you're in shade, but it's going to push a little bit more yellow tones to your images than if you were shooting in sunny conditions. So again, your camera's adding a little bit more warmer tones to your images when you're going out to shoot. So what about this 4th thing that I talked about earlier in the video? This 4th thing is called your Kelvin temperature of white balance. And look, this is a way to even take your manual adjustment of color correction even further. Your Kelvin temperature will add different tones based on what temperature you're using. And in landscape photography specifically, you hear a lot of photographers, like night photographers, myself included, talk about Kelvin temperature and white balance for night photography, Milky Way photography especially. Whenever you go out shooting at night, the best Kelvin temperatures to use are between that 3,000 and 4,000 range, depending on how much ambient light and color reflection is in your area. So when you stay on the lower side of Kelvin temperature, you're gonna have bluer light being projected into your image. When you get higher, you're going to have more yellow and purples being projected into your image from your camera, using that Kelvin technology of pushing more temperature into your images. So Kelvin temperature is a great way for you to take advantage of your manual adjustments of white balance using cool temperatures and warm temperatures. So even with Kelvin temperatures, you can even use those for sunlight, you can use those for shade, you can use those for clouds, and you can manually balance your white balance in your images, taking your adjustment to the image a little bit further and not having your camera decide everything for you. So this is really important for us photographers, especially landscape photographers, to know what the white balance is going to do to our images and be able to know what conditions to set it to. The camera obviously makes it really easy for us having a little sun, shade, and cloud icon. But remember your Kelvin temperatures too the next time you go out and shoot images. Hey guys, if you liked this video or you found it useful at all, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to this channel if you're into landscape photography at all, and comment below with some of your favorite photographers as well, because I'd love to check their work out. I love checking out new photographers, and I'd love to see who you guys are following. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Continuing watching is always an option too. Here's the best selected video for you as a YouTube viewer based on your search terms.